right, welcome to another deep dive, everybody. Today, we're going to be tackling the future of Flamengo. We've got two articles here. They're absolutely buzzing about potential new hires and what they could mean for the club. So I am ready to get into it.
Well, I'll start by saying it's not as straightforward as some might think. One article is reporting these hires as if it's a sure thing, and the other one emphasizes no contracts are signed yet. So we're in what-if territory. We're exploring possibilities.
Okay, so let's get into it then. We're looking at JP Sampaio from Palmeiras Youth Program and Jose Bolito, who has been a football director in Europe. So what do we need to know about these guys?
Well, they represent two very different approaches, Sampaio is the guy known for nurturing young talent at Palmeiras. We're talking about Endrick, we're talking about Estevão. He's all about building from within. Now, Boto, on the other hand, he brings a more analytical approach to scouting and transfers, and he's drawing on experience with clubs like Benfica and Shakhtar Donetsk.
So it's kind of a blend of homegrown development and global strategy. That could be huge for Flamengo. But why is this such a big deal? Flamengo's already a powerhouse, right?
They are, but they've also faced criticism for their lack of long-term vision. So think about, the frequent coaching changes, questionable player acquisitions. In fact, one of the articles even mentioned a specific purchase of a midfielder. This midfielder was injured for most of the previous season. There's this disconnect between their very highly regarded youth academy and the main squad. So they haven't quite managed to utilize all that young talent that they're producing.
So they're amazing on offense, but fumbling the ball when it comes to long-term planning. And that's where these two could come in. So let's start with Sampaio's vision. What makes him so special?
He's not just about winning youth tournaments. It's about creating a system that feeds that talent into the main squad. One article details how he actually revamped Palmeiras Academy. He emphasized individual player development plans and integrated youth players into training with the pros. So he's looking at long-term growth. He's not just focused on winning now.
So he's not just cultivating talent, he's building a whole pipeline. So what about Boto then? How does his European experience translate to the Brazilian scene?
Well, Boto is known for his analytical approach to transfers. So instead of just, relying solely on traditional scouting, he actually utilizes data to evaluate players and identify potential even before they become big names. He's credited with making shrewd signings, avoiding expensive mistakes, and bringing that strategic approach to the transfer market.
So Sampaio's nurturing talent from the ground up and Boto's building the team on top. But how do those two approaches work together? You need both, right?
Absolutely. The key is integration. You don't want them working in silos. The young talent that Sampaio is developing needs to fit into the strategic vision that Boto is building for the main squad.
So it's like a puzzle where all the pieces need to fit together perfectly. It's not just about individual brilliance. It's about creating a unified team. And speaking of the team, the articles mentioned Felipe Luis, the veteran player, potentially taking on a mentorship role.
Right. That's an example of the kind of synergy you'd hope to see. You have a seasoned player like Felipe Luis acting as a bridge between the academy players coming up, and the established stars. And that could create a more cohesive team culture.
That makes sense. It's not just about tactics and skills. It's about fostering that team spirit and mentorship. That can make a real difference.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Flamengo fans are passionate. They demand trophies. Can this new structure, even if it's brilliant on paper, thrive under that pressure?
That's the million-dollar question. They're walking into a pressure cooker.
Exactly. And that actually brings up a really interesting point. The articles highlight some key philosophical differences between these two potential hires.
Yes. Boto is very data-driven. He emphasizes metrics, intensity, a very structured approach. Sampaio seems to favor a more organic style. I think one of the articles even used the term street football to describe his approach, encouraging creativity and improvisation.
So data versus instinct. Structure versus freedom. Could this be a recipe for disaster? Or is there a way to make these seemingly opposing philosophies work together?
That's where it gets really fascinating. Because what if, instead of clashing, these differences actually complement each other? What if it's this very blend of data-driven analysis and intuitive understanding of the Brazilian game? That unlocks Flamengo's true potential.
Ooh, I like that. So it's not about one being right and one being wrong. It's about finding the right balance, the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where these two approaches create something truly special, this is getting juicy.
It is. And we're just scratching the surface. There's so many layers to this story. What are the challenges ahead? What are the potential rewards? And how will this impact Brazilian football as a whole?
All right, so many questions, so little time. Stay tuned, listeners, because when we come back, we're going to delve even deeper into the potential impact of this power duo. Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. We're unpacking what could be a monumental shift for Flamengo with these two potential hires. They represent contrasting but potentially complementary approaches. And before the break, we were just teasing out that clash of styles. Boto, the data guy, versus Sampaio, who seems to favor that Brazilian flair.
Yeah, and it's not just about their philosophies. It's about, how they would actually implement their visions at Flamengo. Like, take the youth academy, for example. Flamengo's Ninho do Urubu training center. It's already one of the most advanced in South America.
Yeah.
And they're constantly, upgrading and expanding it.
Yeah, the articles mentioned something like 20 football pitches, including the development near their future stadium.
Exactly. It's a statement of intent. And that kind of infrastructure creates a fantastic platform for Sampaio to build on. Imagine him walking into that facility, with all those resources and all those talented young players, ready to shape the future of the club.
It's like giving a master craftsman the finest tools and materials. He's not just building players, he's building a legacy. But it can't just be about developing players in isolation, right? How does Boto's role tie into this?
That's where the strategic element comes in. Boto's task is to make sure that the talent that Sampaio is nurturing aligns with the needs of the main squad. So it's about, creating a seamless transition from the academy to the professional level.
So it's not just about having a great youth academy. It's about integrating it with the club's overall vision. And this could have financial implications as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. If Flamengo can consistently develop top-tier talent from within, they can reduce their reliance on expensive signings, which makes the club more sustainable in the long run.
It's a win-win. Develop your own stars, spend less money, and create a team that's truly rooted in the club's identity. But of course, it's not just about what happens on the pitch. We also have to think about the media's reaction to all this.
Well, the articles give us a glimpse into that. The Brazilian media seems cautiously optimistic. They see these potential hires as a response to the criticisms that Flamengo has faced regarding short-term planning and haphazard decisions.
So they're basically saying, okay, maybe Flamengo's finally getting serious about building something sustainable. But what about the Portuguese media? How are they viewing Boto's potential move?
Well, there's a sense of pride almost. They're highlighting Boto's European experience and his deep understanding of the South American market. So they see it as an opportunity for him to showcase that expertise on a grand stage.
It's like they're saying, look what our guy can do.
Oh.
They're eager to see him succeed. But let's not forget, like you mentioned earlier, this is all still speculation, right?
Right. No contracts have been signed. It's all hypothetical at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. But for the sake of our deep dive, let's assume these appointments do happen. What are the biggest challenges that this potential dream team would face at Flamengo?
Well, managing expectations would be top of the list. Flamengo fans are notoriously passionate and demanding. They want to see results now. And it's not just about winning. It's about winning with style.
Winning the Copa Libertadores, winning the Brazilian championship. They expect it all.
Exactly. And that creates immense pressure. So Boto and Sampaio, even with their long-term vision, they would need to find a way to appease those immediate desires while also, laying the groundwork for lasting success.
So how do you navigate that? How do you keep the fans happy while also building for the future?
Communication is key. They would need to, clearly articulate their vision to the fans, highlight the progress being made, and most importantly, demonstrate that they're building a team that plays with the passion and flair that Flamengo is known for.
So it's about showing the fans that you understand their expectations, even if you can't deliver on all of them immediately. But let's not forget, the pressure isn't just coming from the fans, right? There's also the intense competition within Brazilian football itself.
Absolutely. You've got rival clubs, media scrutiny, even internal politics to contend with. It's a pressure cooker environment.
So it's not just about building a great team. It's about navigating a complex web of external pressures and internal dynamics. It's a high-stakes game. But let's not just dwell solely on the challenges, right? What about the potential rewards? What could this mean for Flamengo if this dream team actually works out?
Well, we could see Flamengo become a truly dominant force in South American football, a team that wins trophies consistently and plays with a style that becomes synonymous with the club.
A legacy, not just a moment in time. It's about defining an era.
Exactly. And imagine the impact this could have on Brazilian football as a whole. We could see a new generation of players inspired by this model, raising the bar for technical development and tactical awareness.
So it's about more than just winning trophies. It's about elevating the entire landscape of Brazilian football.
Precisely. And that brings us to a crucial question. Can this potential new direction at Flamengo not only bring titles back to Rio, but also usher in a new era for Brazilian football on the global stage.
So we've gone from potential hires to potentially redefining Brazilian football. This is getting big.
It is. The implications are massive, and we've only just scratched the surface.
This is definitely a story we need to keep our eyes on. But for now, let's take a quick pause to gather our thoughts. When we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the future of Flamengo, exploring those potential rewards and offering our final predictions.
Okay, so we're back, and it's time for the final stretch of our deep dive into Flamengo's future. We've analyzed all the potential, we've explored the challenges, and now it's time to, zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
Right. We've gone from speculating about two individual hires to imagining how their potential collaboration could reshape an entire club and even, influence the direction of Brazilian football itself. So let's bring it all together. What are the key takeaways from this deep dive?
Well, I think the most significant takeaway is that this isn't just about bringing in two talented individuals. It's about a potential paradigm shift. Flamengo seems to be moving away from the short-term thinking and toward a more holistic, sustainable model.
It's like they're saying we're done with quick fixes. We're building something that will last.
Exactly. And that's where the potential synergy between Sampaio and Boto is so intriguing. You have Sampaio, the architect of youth development, focused on creating a pipeline of talent from within, and then you have Boto, the strategist, bringing a data-driven approach to building the team at the top.
It's a two-pronged approach, nurturing that talent from the ground up, while also making strategic additions that elevate the team to the next level.
And let's not forget the importance of integration. It's not enough to just have these two brilliant minds working independently. Their visions need to align. The talent that Sampaio develops needs to fit seamlessly into Boto's strategic plan for the main squad.
We also talked about, the considerable challenges that they would face, the immense pressure from the fans, the complexities of Brazilian football, the need to balance immediate results with those long-term goals. The high wire act.
It is. But the potential rewards are just as significant. Imagine a Flamengo team that dominates South American football, not just through brute force, but with a style of play that's uniquely Flamengo, a team that embodies the flair and creativity that Brazilian football is known for, but combined with tactical sophistication and a level of consistency that we haven't seen before.
Taking those qualities that everyone loves about Brazilian football and amplifying them, pushing them to the next level.
Exactly. And imagine the ripple effect this could have. A new generation of players inspired by this model, raising the bar for technical ability and tactical understanding. It could elevate the entire landscape of Brazilian football.
So this is about more than just Flamengo. It's about the future of Brazilian football itself.
Precisely. Can this potential new direction at Flamengo not only bring trophies back to Rio, but also usher in a new era for Brazilian football on the world stage? That's the question we're left with.
A question that will unfold over time on the pitches of Brazil and beyond. But one thing's for sure, this is a story worth following. Right. So to all our listeners out there, keep your eyes on Flamengo. This could be the start of something truly special. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.